Oh, good. Quiet.
You came in clean suit, pocket full of lies. Smile like a sermon, knife behind your ties. You point at the fear, then you feed it words. Paint the whole room red before we've heard. You say trust me, then you move the fence. You make the weak line up and call it common sense. But I read your lips, I see the script. You sell the smoke, then you blame the sky. Propaganda man, propaganda man, spin it back again. Propaganda man, he wraps a label in a chain and calls it a plan. Propaganda man, cut so cold. Propaganda man, I see them old. Hear the crowd say wow. He sold them somehow. He sold me a dream in a paper suit, polished smile, all bitter fruit. Got my name on a list in his careful hands. So trust me, kid, I'm your propaganda man. He points at the feast and hides the plate, paints the lie and calls it fate. Every face in the crowd looks half alive. He laughs real sweet when the numbers lie. Oh, he knows what you fear. Oh, he feeds it here. One more push, one more brand of the propaganda man. Propaganda man, talk so sweet. Propaganda man, spin it back again. Propaganda man, propaganda man. He wraps a label in a chain and calls it a plan. Propaganda man, cut so cold. Propaganda man, I see the mold. Hear the crowd say wow. He sold them somehow. You know how to clap when the crowd gets tense. Trade a little truth for $1.00. You bend the mirror till it looks like blame. Then you call it peace, but it tastes the same. He got new words for an old wound. Turned my neighbor into a hunter at noon. Set the dogs on the truth by the courthouse steps. Then washed his hands while the room just slept. He don't need a gun, he don't need to run. He only needs a screen and a trembling hand to make a saint out of a propaganda man. Oh, he knows what you fear. Oh, he feeds it here. One more push, one more brand of the propaganda man. Propaganda man, talk so sweet. Propaganda man, spin it back again. Propaganda man, he wraps a label in a chain and calls it a plan. Propaganda man, cut so cold. Propaganda man, I see the mold. Hear the crowd say wow. He sold them somehow. I won't march to your drum, won't bite that bait, won't wear your fear like it's heaven made. Say my name out loud if you need a face. I'm done with your shadow, done with your race. Propaganda man, propaganda man, your spell is broke. Propaganda man. But the ink runs thin when the light gets in, and the cheap disguise starts to bend. If you look him in the eye, he can't hide behind all the mouths he bought to defend. Propaganda man, propaganda man, talk so sweet. Propaganda man, spin it back again. Propaganda man, he wraps a label in a chain and calls it a plan. Propaganda man, cut so cold. Propaganda man, I see the mold when the crowd says no. He's just a frightened man. Propaganda man, propaganda man, propaganda man.
Boom. I love that song, man. Just
I do. Yeah, it's very appropriate for the topic of the day. Because
yeah.
we're going to be talking about some of that OG propaganda, man.
Yeah. And Troy's watching. Troy sent us a new song called "Old Man the Bus," and I'll put it together in the next few days. That's really good as well. But yeah, it's great. It's great. Okay, my darling, should we start with a bit of humor?
Yes.
Okay, well, we've got an update on the bird flu for anti-vaxxers. Apparently, South Africa has come out with a way to handle bird flu without a vaccine. Oh, what's that? Here it is.
Yeah. Oi, yes, you're right.
And that should avoid getting a vaccine. That's yes. Remember to say the fuck off.
Yeah, that's good.
So yes. Anyway, it's a bit of thing to start. Here we go. Now, there's no quiz show tonight because I've just come back from Melbourne last night. The quiz show takes a lot of time. I didn't get to do it today. And we didn't do Paul last night, and we always do a Sunday show. So today we're catching up, and we want to talk about the Fauci files. And then, g'day, honey. And so where do you want to start, Paul?
Well, let's start with Tulsi in her own words. It's a 5-minute clip, but it makes the point, and she's on target. All right, let's do
Hi,
that.
Dr. Dan, if you're watching.
Before the COVID pandemic, Dr. Fauci, as head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, provided millions in U.S. taxpayer dollars to fund dangerous gain-of-function research on bat coronaviruses at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, work which is now widely viewed as the source of the unintentional lab leak that sparked the pandemic. Now, in support of President Trump's maximum transparency mandate, today, on my final day as Director of National Intelligence, I'm releasing never-before-seen communications and documents that expose exactly how Fauci worked with politicized career leadership in the intelligence community to suppress the truth about his actions, the virus's lab leak origins, and his role in directing U.S. funding for this dangerous research that caused immeasurable harm and countless lost lives. Now, these documents expose Fauci's direct role in influencing and manipulating IC assessments on COVID-19 and how Fauci lied to Congress in 2024 when under oath, he denied knowledge of or participation in discussions with intelligence officials about viral research. We also received testimony from multiple intelligence community whistleblowers who reported retaliation for challenging the intelligence community's manipulation of intelligence on the virus's origins, once again revealing a clear pattern of suppressing dissent, silencing critics, and burying the truth. Dr. Fauci's close relationships with the intelligence community enabled him to assume 3 key roles that shield him from scrutiny. First, Dr. Fauci funded dangerous gain-of-function coronavirus research linked to big pharma and their pursuit of universal vaccines worth trillions of dollars. Second, Dr. Fauci was the behind-the-scenes advisor who, alongside his hand-picked so-called experts, pushed the intelligence community to endorse a natural animal origin to hide his dangerous gain-of-function research that he funded using taxpayer dollars, all of this in a deliberate attempt to cover up the truth and shift the blame and attention away from Fauci's own actions. Third, Dr. Fauci became the nation's pandemic pundit, and he publicly pushed lies, disinformation, and censorship using every platform available. Now, according to hundreds of reviewed emails, which are included in this release, the intelligence community almost always incorporated Fauci's recommendations. He promoted a fraudulent paper whose publication he helped prompt as legitimate information for intelligence community consideration. Senior analysts praised Dr. Fauci, not as a policymaker, but as what they called an unbiased guide to the real coronavirus experts, while deliberately ignoring experts who might dissent from Fauci's narratives. Now, Fauci didn't stop there. He blatantly lied to Congress under oath during his 2024 testimony to the House Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic, denying that he ever spoke to any intelligence agency about COVID. Now, the correspondence I'm releasing today directly contradicts his sworn testimony. And we received statements from multiple whistleblowers revealing that the intelligence analysts who dared to challenge Dr. Fauci's COVID origin conclusions faced threats of retaliation, marginalization, and many suffered career setbacks. For example, a contractor was terminated just days after coming forward to ODNI as a whistleblower. Another example, those who advocated for the lab leak hypothesis or expressed dissenting views were reminded by their managers that leadership would determine which analysts would be promoted and which would not. The message was clear: go along or be punished. Senior leaders also sought to undermine whistleblowers by removing anonymity, which is required in the whistleblower process, as they made their complaints, and also insisting that their managers or attorneys be present during ODNI meetings where these whistleblowers were coming forward with their testimony, obviously creating an atmosphere of intimidation. The COVID pandemic caused tremendous hardship and pain for millions of our fellow Americans and countless people around the world. Now, after years of lies and censorship and cover-ups, the American people deserve transparency, truth, and accountability. The tactics that were used to hide the truth are straight from the deep state playbook. Politicized self-serving leaders like Dr. Fauci covered up their own wrongdoing and abuses of power, manipulated intelligence, lied to Congress, and undermined a duly elected president by restricting his access to the vital facts he needed to keep the country safe. It's time you know the truth.
So there you go.
Wow.
So it wasn't a conspiracy theory, or you could say it's a conspiracy theory that's now been confirmed. And some of us have been saying it for 5.5 years.
Oh, wow. I was going to say, one of the things I was really interested in was he did gain of function. I wonder what came first, the coronavirus or the vaccine. So they approached him, we've got this mRNA vaccine for this, you know. So what I'm seeing, to break it down to street level, basically you're big pharma and you've opened a glass repair shop. And I'm Fauci, and I've gone down the street with a bucket full of stones, and I've broken all the windows. And you come down going, "Oh man, that's pretty bad," you know. Hey, I just happen to have a stone-proof window that you put up, and we can double glaze it, and we call that boosting. And that'll keep you extra safe and effective from rocks.
Yeah.
That's the business model. Create a problem. We got the solution. It's just business. So if you're out there and you're vaccine injured, or you've lost someone to the vaccine, or you lost your job or anything like that, don't take it personal. It's just business.
Yeah. Well, the thing that's different about some random anti-vaxxer on the internet or conspiracy theorist is that this is the office of the Director of National Intelligence. So it's from the government now saying, look, we knew, and basically saying what many of us knew was that Fauci was lying through his teeth. And we watched the cover up in real time, and now the cover up has been made very tangible. She's come out with bucket loads, that big pile of papers on her desk. There's a lot of data there, communication of how this happened. So he funded gain of function, which is basically bioweapons research. And Peter Daszak actually went to DARPA under a under a proposal preempt and diffuse to say he was going to do exactly this work. And the proposal sat on a server unclassified for at least a year and a half, probably longer, and they just ignored it until now. And of course, there's questions about the timing. Why on her last day? Why? I saw one post which said, "Look, it's after the statute of limitations on lying to Congress," because that's the specific accusation she's making. That he said, "Oh no, I didn't talk to the intelligence agencies at all. He's knee deep in it." So it's and so the chain of events was Obama administration banned this sort of research. The proposal went to DARPA and they went, no, this is too risky, we won't do it. And he went ahead and funded it to the tune of millions of dollars and sent it offshore to China, which is
treason.
Yeah, I think so. So despite the moratorium.
Well, look at the other way. Biden pardoned him. So Biden's obviously a part of it. You can't tell me that Biden didn't know what was going on. So Biden pardoned him. Biden now, of course, he's probably in a nursing home somewhere, eating soup and wondering where he's left his false teeth. There's all of them are guilty. This is apt. And the head of Pfizer, that vet guy, the psychopaths at such a great level, or sociopaths, or if they're just human beings, it's at such a level that I don't think they're lying. They really believe they're doing something good or something, but maybe they're look at the keeping Big Pharma alive. Big Pharma's got a huge organization, needs tons of money to fund it, and they funded it. All they had to do was kill a lot of people.
Yeah,
but
well,
guys are interested.
It's nice. I got mine too.
Yeah, Beanie Boys. So yeah, it's incredible.
But it's not just a crime; it's the cover up. So he got emails in early in 2020 saying this looked like it was lab origin. It said not consistent with evolutionary origin, which means lab. And he went into panic mode, and he even got a whole lot of science people to write, including Australia's Eddie Holmes, I believe, in the Natural Origins paper. So he crafted this thing. Oh no, don't look over there. Don't look over there. Look over there. So that it's not just a crime; it's the cover up. And what's fascinating? He was using chimeric viruses. I remember years ago watching the UK version of the show Utopia. I don't know if anyone watching has watched the original Utopia show. It was very quirky. But it was about viruses and vaccines, and the viruses were designed to kill fertility, and they had and it was a chimeric virus, just like this. It was a chimeric backbone. It was chimeric bat virus research, where they're sort of splicing two different viruses to produce the effect.
Wow.
So if you can still find the UK version of the show Utopia, it's pretty interesting. It even had in the plot there was like a neurological disease called I think Deal syndrome. Anyway, it's quite spooky. So
UK PM stepped down. So Keir Starmer's gone. Another puppet gone.
Am I very loud? I can.
Is there any way to even the sound? The call is so loud compared to MGG. Oh, I don't know. He's just a lot bigger than me. There's
so April 2020, very suspiciously, the NIH abruptly cut the funding to Eco Health Alliance, which was also looked like they were covering their tracks, and like I say, there was the in that 2020 Lancet paper, Natural Origins paper. I think Peter Daszak was one of the authors. Now, Peter Daszak is the guy from Eco Health Alliance.
Yeah.
So it raises lots of questions about the integrity of the intelligence, the integrity of science, the integrity of the Lancet, the way they treated researchers and whistleblowers. I have a good feeling for how that runs. And now the open question is, will we see accountability?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, look, Keir Starmer is just gone. He's destroyed England, And what's the punishment he's going to get? It's not like he's going to go to jail and be in jail with another puppet like Pinocchio who's going to say, "Hey, want to sit on my face?" It's just not going to come. This is how evil it is. They're all in on it. They're all in on it. It's what she's released is basically what we said, that we've said from the beginning. This is all corrupt. This is completely and I'm lost. It just staggers me that they're going to get away with it. Will Fauci be prosecuted? Who knows? There's so much power in it. I mean, it's just foxes.
I think it's an absolutely huge story. That's
did you see it on the front of the Sydney Morning Herald? Did you see it on the front of the West Australian? No. Where'd you see it? On X? I tried to share some things to Twitter, to TikTok. It won't go up. Oh no, this is they won't post it. So this is incredible time. Yeah.
Well, the censorship is still very much here. So Robert Malone did a series of posts on this. I'll just put it up. Oh, you probably can't see it. So
can you make it bigger?
Not easily, I don't think. But look, I'll tell you what he said. So, never seen before documents, Fauci's fingerprints all over the intelligence, a lie he told Congress under oath. So it lays out.
And look how he lied. You saw him in the Congress effortlessly.
Yeah.
He, if there was the Olympics, there'd be him and Albo going for it. My money be on Fauci. Albo's a great liar. He even sits there and goes, "There's no evidence I lie," or something on the front of the paper here.
Yeah.
But Fauci takes it to another level with that condescending tone of his. I mean, even when they played him saying, "Oh, we'll force them again," and he just sat there unruffled, a complete sociopath.
Oh, I don't know. He did get riled up when Senator Rand Paul was coming after him.
Yeah.
You funded gain of function research. I didn't fund. But what this document's showing is he did fund gain of function research. And even if you had a question about whether or not it was true, the cover-up makes it clear that he thought, "Oh shit, they're going to find out I funded this virus." And so all the actions that followed, the manipulation of the intelligence, he handpicked the crowd that would guide the intelligence conversations, and he set up the Lancet Natural Origins paper. And some of us who were watching this in real time were just gobsmacked, but we were, this is something we got used to. So he funded it. He corralled the intelligence. Under oath, he denied that he'd spoken to intelligence, FBI, CIA, DIA. But he said, "Not to my knowledge," but, he's been caught out. But some of the analysts saw through.
But it really speaks to the power of what we're living in. What sort of society we're living in is clearly not a democracy. So, you know, the corporations are not terrified that even if it's coming out, that they're in any threat. I mean, if you go to the patents, you know, the patents show that they've been designing this stuff for ages, and they're not scared of us. They're not. It's incredible. And we're seeing it now in how the police are treating people all around the world, and you know, it's seeing that. I'll just put a poll up there. Do you think Fauci will be arrested? So far, I don't think so. He's winning. So, yeah, so this really poses a problem to us. What do we do? What do we do when, as chickens, we find out that the foxes are running the hen house? You know, and all we seem to be doing is like, let's ask the wolves if they'll prosecute the foxes. Yeah, right. To save us chickens. Not gonna happen.
I tell you, I think it's like the ants and the grasshoppers and what is it?
Yeah.
Bugs like. If enough of us chickens peck at them, millions of us, they're in big trouble. And I think that's the danger they're facing. That you know, the chickens are going to come home to roost.
Can I show you something? This is now we've all seen, right? The Pakistani. This I just got standard, but it just shows how the upper echelon and the police are not being affected by what we're seeing. This is just came out today, but this is a load of young white women, and these are the ones that have been proven that the police rape with the Pakistani gangs. I mean, it's disgraceful what's happening. Look how white policemen in England treat their own young women.
Go on, you money!
Oh. You take that down for a second.
Yep.
Why is it not going up?
We get lots of money. You stop swearing and get moving. Yo, what's he doing? Yo, was he mad? Why is he squaring?
Right, those young girls are smaller than them. Them.
Yo, he's got the
There's one there.
Yo,
that's a grown man.
yo, what's he doing? Yo.
You know, this is what they're doing. They're recruiting the sort of men into the police force where they serve and protect, who are serving their masters, and allowing them to do that. I mean, everything's been undermined. There's no way that the top is going to arrest Fauci. Anything we do to change the world now has to come up from the ground like osmosis. You know, that's it. It's proven. The facts don't get. That's why they don't give a shit if it's come out. They'll be like going, "Yeah, what are you going to do? We got all the guns. What are you going to do? Yeah, we engineered the vaccine. Yeah, we killed your auntie. Yeah, we killed your kid. What you going to do about it? Huh? Nothing. That's right. You know, it's almost changing the power play of complete contempt, like the 1980 the Animal Farm, where the pigs now are in full control, but the animals are starting to go realizing that it's up to them to change it because the pigs ain't going to change themselves. It's where we are.
Yeah, look, they have been holding us in contempt. There's no question. You know, absolutely. Maybe before we move off Fauci, we should remember some of his other lies.
So, do we have enough time? I mean, he was AIDS. He was AIDS as well. Hey, vaccine truth. How you going?
Maybe we can do.
I love how you get someone who doesn't have a face, doesn't have a name. They call themselves vaccine truth. You know that they can't even be. We can't even differentiate them from a bot. And saying, "Oh."
I hope they really stand for vaccine. Look, you're right. It's almost moot, you know, because we know he's a lying scumbag. But
why the change now? Because most of us have been walking around, going to the grocery store, not wearing the mask because that was the original recommendation.
Well, we have to make sure we don't forget that the most important thing is to keep this 6-foot physical distance from individuals.
However, you testified recently, and I'm quoting, this 6-foot rule sort of just appeared.
Staying 6 feet away from people.
This 6-foot rule
Staying 6 feet apart.
crippled businesses,
Maintaining 6 feet of distance.
allowed students to stay at home and not learn.
So important. Maintaining distance of 6 feet or more.
Do you think that a rule that sort of just appeared is substantial justification for the regulations that we saw based on that 6-foot rule?
6 feet apart. The CDC was responsible for those kinds of guidelines, not me. I would recommend doing what the CDC, as I think appropriately and correctly said, staying 6 feet away. The perfect solution to this is if everyone stays 6 feet separated. 6 feet away. Stay 6 feet apart. 6 feet distance. 6 foot distance. 6 feet apart. 6 feet away. 6 feet away. That's our most important tool. It had little to do with me since I didn't make the recommendation. And I think we should just follow carefully the CDC recommendations. We must abide by public health measures. The usual 6 feet apart. Very important. 6 foot distance. Stay 6 feet apart. A 6 foot rule. It actually came from the CDC, not me. But I would recommend 6 feet of distance.
The 6 foot rule, the social distancing, which you said sort of just appeared.
The 6 foot rule, it's almost irrelevant. Almost irrelevant. Almost irrelevant.
And it could go on, couldn't it?
It's a shame he's not 6 feet under, do you think? That's the distance I'd like. 6 feet underground. Yeah, now we're safe.
I mean, I don't get it, but I saw Malcolm Roberts had noticed that this is the actual website that Tulsi has all the data dumped in, and it's very clear. Fauci funded Wuhan lab research that sparked COVID. So you can't ask for anything better than that, and it's well documented. Now,
Jennifer Lopez.
This post that Malcolm Roberts is pointing to is talking about a study which showed that I posted about a week ago, showing about sudden infant death and its proximity to the vaccinations. And, it was terrifying data. The journal removed it, and I'm really happy to see that Robert F. Kennedy is putting a bit of fire under the journal and saying, on what grounds? I mean, it's been there for 5 years. It's not like, and now they've removed it. And this whole sudden infant death and its relationship, I think they should go back retrospectively and look at all the shaken babies cases. I think you're muted, Michael. You're muted.
Like, we've got Vaccine Truth here, a troll saying it's all about the science. As new science evolves, I think that's Dr. Dan. As new science evolves, they change. This is not science. This is a crime. This is a crime against humanity. It's probably the greatest crime in the history of humanity. We don't even know how many dead there are because they're dying of all these different diseases, and they're still dying. They're still going to keep dying. This is
about corruption. This is not about science.
Yeah.
This is about RICO, racketeering and criminal conspiracy. It's not a theory. It's racketeering and criminal conspiracy. And I think the person who made the comment that there's no statute of limitations on murder is right, because this was killed. This killed millions of people. So
yeah, absolutely. And not only that, the old people who died alone in nursing homes, not with their loved ones, the funerals people went to where they couldn't be there for their loved ones.
That was me too. That happened to me. Yeah. I couldn't go to my own mum's funeral in April 2020 because of 6 feet and the spacing bullshit. So we all suffered greatly. Lost businesses, lost careers.
Yeah.
Based on lies, based on fabrication, based on things like Fauci covering his ass. Because what would have happened if he'd been caught early on? It would have it raises question about all these scientists doing their vaccine research, because this came out of vaccine research, and we call it gain of function, which is the bioweapons side of vaccine research, and so all of the scientists, all of these vaccine truthers, they gathered the wagons together and told lies to protect them, because they knew that if the word got out that all these great vaccinologists and epidemiologists were all complicit in the structure, they wouldn't have been able to push through their gene therapy rollout or medical countermeasure. Not a vaccine, it was a synthetic gene therapy, and it was also called a medical military countermeasure. So it wasn't Philip Altman, when he was talking in Canberra, he makes that point too. He made a lot of good points. Maybe we should talk about that too. This post just harks back to how they kept saying 20 million lives were saved based on bogus modeling data. But when you start looking, when we were looking at the all-cause mortality, it kept going up every time the rollout started in the different age groups. And there was analysis by Rancourt said 17 million lives lost, so nearly 20 million, the exact opposite of what they were claiming, So this week we had one of the early. This is our friend Doc Malik in 2022, speaking with Asim Malhotra and Jay Bhattacharya, and I was bringing the heat. So the thing is, on my Substack in 2022, I wrote about this. I wrote about something called the Sunshine Project, which was an organization which was focused on a oversight of biological weapons research. And they blew the whistle back in 2008, and then they cut the funding. But what the Sunshine Project was talking about was lab leak after lab leak, bad practice, saying, this is dangerous, guys. There are labs all over the place. And it just got ignored and defunded, Here's my favorite depiction of Anthony Fauci. That's my too long didn't read.
Oh, yeah, that's great. The beauty of AI, man. Look at that. Can you make that bigger?
Let me try.
That is.
I think it captures his essence nicely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Andrew Brigden this week did a post with this. This is the Atagi advice about opportunistically giving vaccines to patients while they're sedated.
Yeah, that's what people are terrified about. They don't want to go to hospital. I mean, I was the same when I was with the heart operation. Are they going to give it to me while I'm under? I don't know.
Me too. Because look, and because they were ignoring informed consent, they were almost obsessively, religiously into the COVID vaccine, and this was despite the fact that it didn't stop infection, it didn't stop transmission, it didn't protect. Nothing ever got updated in their thinking, and that's why. And they were framing it back in 2022 and 2021 like a mental illness. And of course, when you've got someone who's mentally ill, they can actually then override their informed consent and put in a substitute guardian. So I was really terrified when I saw that that guidance in 2022, because I knew that they were not acting in a moral and ethical way. And
Yeah.
look, I don't think they injected us when we were under, but
No.
who knows?
You know what's really scary? ASIO's just been given all these new powers, and you telling me if the CIA knew, they didn't tell Australia? So ASIO makes sense that ASIO would know. What's the use of having an intelligence agency if it misses the biggest crime, because it's too busy looking after sovereign citizens. Basically, it's using sovereign citizens as a way to crush dissent. Sovereign citizen means anyone now who challenges the system.
Well, the same apparatus that we were fighting during COVID, when we were fighting during the mandates, they're now shifted to the people who are speaking out against migration, speaking out against rape gangs and youths, migrant youths running around with machetes, and so it's the same mob. It's the same mob that we're dealing with. They've moved on from COVID mostly, and they're now going. Now, look, this is another thing that we've known about. I've talked about. I watched it for the last few years, but But this little clip actually is really. I'm really pleased to see that they're talking about it.
So that's what happened in the first 2 weeks. But what did they do? They said, "Oh, the vaccines can't do anything in that period, so we should ignore it." Mm. And so they pretend those vaccinated people didn't get sick, and then on occasions they described vaccinated people in that 2 week period as unvaccinated. So as well as ignoring the vaccine people who were sick, they were putting those illnesses onto the unvaccinated group and exaggerating the problem for the unvaccinated. So you've got a sort of double whammy.
Double whammy, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sly trick, really.
It is a sly trick, and we were calling it out, and it's never been addressed.
No.
And people have continued to publish and ignore that 2 week period. I called it the illusion of benefits in the book.
Which leads to a delusion, which is a false belief.
Yes.
The vaccine is ineffective for the first 6 weeks after the first shot. I'm assuming a two-shot, a two-dose vaccine like Pfizer or Moderna. And that during that period, the COVID infection rate goes up and the death rate goes up. And the data, the official data, do not count you as vaccinated until 2 weeks after the second shot. So the deaths that happen during that first 6 weeks are attributed to unvaccinated people, to the unvaccinated group, which is not, it's a trick. It's a statistical trick.
Yeah. So
I think that's called vaccine truth, the real truth. That just know people are going to get injured, and it's just about hiding it and hoping that people will be so enamored with their leaders, they'll just overlook everything that they get sent. Just overlook everything. There's a thing I've seen here.
It pervaded nearly all the literature, in the observational studies. They call it a classification error. But the net effect was that when people got the jab and then got COVID or then died or had a severe adverse reaction, the studies all said, you could see it in the data because when the rollouts were happening and they were jabbing away, all the unvaccinated were getting sick. And there was a spike in death among the unvaccinated, but they weren't really unvaccinated. This is what I mean. It's like a foundational level of fraud that has been revealed. We've known this. I followed Professor Fenton in the UK, and he did some great explanations of how you can make something that actually has no utility. 65, 70, 80%, even 90% effective using this reclassification trick. So it's
incredible.
It's
incredible. It's incredible that we're here, and they're on course to get away with it. This is the real issue. I mean, look, they've dropped Ebola. They were trying to push Ebola. and they've stopped that because obviously they're realizing no one's buying it. No one's
Yeah, they're not
buying it.
buying. If you look at the Google searches, I saw a post that monkeypox and bird flu are just not selling. You know, they're just not able to sell them because people can't believe the shit that's coming out of their mouths.
No, they're just making fun of them. Johnny Larder did a great one against bird flu. Did you see? He caught it from the TV. He did a great video about it. It's done so well. He was warning people against it. It's so funny. Yeah. Oh my God.
There was this. I thought this is worth. Lieutenant Colonel Joe Murphy. He's a specialist in so he's a naval officer, and he was assigned to DARPA in 2021, and he uncovered the EcoHealth diffuse proposal, and he was one of the key whistleblower before Tulsi, saying, "This is what happened. Look, they said they were going to do it, then they did it, and then they covered it up." Anyway, so this article on Brownstone last week,
that's right,
by Lieutenant Colonel Murphy, I highly recommend it, and he talks about the recommendations made by Dr. Quay and Mr. Erdman. But so this was released, I think, before Tulsi. But so he's going from a military point of view, what went wrong, what are the recommendations to prevent another stuff up like this, and it was quite interesting. It was this point here on this part 2. He makes the point that the military, the way it was approached, was all about containment. It was all about fighting spread, which is not a real thing that you can measure and attack. As he says here, he criticized the response as containment theater. You know, putting the masks on the children, the lockdowns. That was all containment theater. An obsession, he writes here. With a near obsession with surveillance, and he made the case that what we needed was not containment theater, but we needed to do. We needed to know how to treat it, who was vulnerable, who got sick, and spread's not a tangible threat, but disease is, and you know, that's the sort of thing I was talking about. You know, that we didn't need to be locked down. We needed focused protection. We needed to know who was vulnerable. We needed to know how to address that. Like that's the things like vitamin D, hydroxychloroquine, zinc, ivermectin.
But look at that. As a doctor, we saw those videos of the doctor testifying in court that he was told he can't. He would be deregistered in America if he offered vitamin C to COVID patients.
I know. So this is
what
he's talking about. So this is what he was talking about. The framing of the whole COVID thing was wrong. They had this fetish for spread and lockdowns and masks, and there wasn't a normal chain of command like there would be with a military organization. There was no one in charge of this clusterfuck. And in fact, they started with a predetermined decision. They were going to lock down and they were going to give these shots to the exclusion of everything else, you know? And I think it's a very strong point that the framing was wrong.
What number are we on the regulator? Whatever. Oops, shouldn't say that. Sorry, I thought it was muted. Just trying to make sure we've generator on. We're in a Bunnings car park. Only the best studios for us.
I like Bunnings.
Keep going. Yep, still going. Keep listening. Yeah.
All right.
But what we're saying, the framing, this is it. Everywhere you go, you can just see There must have been so many people involved. And I don't think they did it for they can't have all done it for money. I don't believe that there's that many human beings on the planet that would participate in a democide just to make a few extra bucks. So a lot of people believed it. That's why these people here, the Vaccine Truth, Dr. Dan, they must really believe that they can't fathom that they were duped. And that's why Thomas Sewell says, intellectual said, I was trying to find, I can't find anything at the moment. He actually said it's impossible almost to convince someone of the truth when they are finding moral superiority in a lie. And that's what they're doing. Look at the way they talk to us, always with this condescension. Oh, you anti-vaxxers. The condescension hides the fact that they know it's a lie. That's why they don't debate. They've got nothing to stand on. We've won the truth war. We've won it. It's ours. You know, what the thing we struggle with, though, is these people don't care. The truth isn't as important to them as it is to us. There's something more is important to them, like status, like being a part of the greater herd, and they're happy to sacrifice truth.
I think the greater herd has moved on them because
that's right. The greater herd now, because the greater herd's dying.
I got a text from my ex, who's part of that tribe, and just telling me terrible stories of people who have been dying or diagnosed with cancer just in the last week.
Wow.
Two of the people in her close contacts. And
this is an inescapable tragedy now. This is going to keep happening. It's in these people.
It's not. The deaths have continued. Aaron Siri did a great. I thought this was a really good podcast with this pediatrician. I'll just put it up there. This is. I said shared with a Vaxophile fundamentalist near you, and one of Aaron made a few great points during this interview, and it says Dr. Gator, but I think it's Dr. Walsh was the pediatrician he was interviewing, and he was talking about what he saw in his own practice. The outcomes between, just like with Dr. Paul Thomas. The vaccinated and the unvaccinated kids in his practice had very different chronic disease profiles. The unvaccinated kids were healthier, and he was seeing it. And even though, others had been attacked and lost their careers, he's continued to talk about it.
I'm reading Aaron Siri's book at the moment. I'm going to reach out. Celine. Celine, this is Celine talking about her daughter. Her baby has been diagnosed with Rett syndrome.
This is actually this particular tweet is a tribute to Celine. It says Celine against machine is my hero. Western Sydney mum.
That's the book. Download this book, Vaccine Amen. I'm halfway through it, and I'm telling you what he's able to do and it's all documented data, it's all factual, is you can finally see the bars of the matrix. You can finally see what it is and why they're invested in it. They've convinced people that it's a religion. They've almost swapped God for the belief in science, and it's all a crock of shit. It is just to make money, and they don't give a flying fuck.
But it's not science. It's not science, Michael. It's science. It's science with a dollar sign and a trademark symbol next to it. This is business. This is not science. This is a religious faith. It's like if you're living in Rome and you have to believe the Roman gods.
We're the heretics. A new
You
religion
better
has
not be-
taken over. The
You
heretics.
better not be a Christian because vaccines are the secular religion,
Yeah.
and that's what we're fighting.
Thanks, Katie. She says it
This
perfectly. G'day, Katie. Yes, the vaccine is a false god. You're exactly right, Katie.
it really
This
is.
is what it is.
This week, there was a paper that came out, a recent JMA paper, that was claiming that Veteran Affairs, it looked at Veterans Affairs patients, and it made the claim that they had less cardiac disease if they took flu plus COVID versus just the flu shot. And so I looked at that paper, and Vinay Prasad does this good takedown of how this is a classic example of healthy vaccinee bias.
That's right, Jack.
It was BS, but this is the sort of shit that still goes on. But I don't know that the audience.
Look at Jason's comment here. Just bring this up. This is it. It's not just about selling vaccines. It's that if they've injured a load of people, they've made them customers' medical system for life. And even if some of them go off and buy the alternative treatments, they've created a need in people, and they're spending loads of money. I mean, the last time I saw, who's the young fella in Connor? The young vaccine injured guy in Sydney.
Yes, I know him.
2 years ago when I interviewed him, they were already up to $100,000 spent on his recovery. And the last time I saw him, he still looked unwell. So I don't know how he's doing now. But this is it. They are just squeezing people dry. And the one lie, I think Topher said it, the one lie that is holding people back from rising up and losing their shit is that they got a hunger to believe that these people care for them. They did their best. I saw Tom Vogel said it about Dan Andrews. He points out all these things that he's done, and the people go, well, he tried his best. No, you fucked you in the ass. That's it. That bad pain you feel when you walk, you think, what is that? Yeah, that's Dan Andrews, man. This is it. It's a time to wake up to the fact that I think I said it early on, really early on in some of my first marches. I was looking at people and I said then, and it's so true. I said the analogy, we were all chickens. Imagine if most of Australians are chickens in this huge coop, and there's a fox in the coop. And we're the chickens that are going, hey, that's a fox. And the other chickens are going, you stupid conspiracy chook. No, that's a dog there to save us. No, it's red, it's got a bushy tail, and Henrietta is hanging out of its mouth. That's a fucking fox. Get out of here. We want these people out of our coop. And it's still here. Yeah. And this fox is just killing them all, and they're still attacking us.
Yeah.
And all we've done is kill the messenger because they don't want to deal with the truth that their false gods don't care for them. They're just milking you for as much money as they can. One thing no one talks about, but I've met on the road, they've been BlackRock and that other insidious companies, Vanguard, are buying up and redeveloping all the funeral parlors. I know in Newcastle they built a big one, has a huge morgue, a huge thing for, what do they call it, where they burn the people down? Cremation, crematorium. They got all these things. So they're making money right to the grave. Soon as you come out, you've got no say in the matter. Hepatitis B, bang. Read Aaron Siri's book. It does nothing, in fact, except injure you and create autism. Great, autism, bang, money to the company for all time. Maybe you get Parkinson's. Maybe you'll get motor neuron. Maybe you'll get asthma. Maybe you'll get eczema. Money going to big pharma milking you. And then when you finally get enough, and maybe in Canada, you go, I can't take it anymore. Euthanasia clinic, we run it. Here's the money. And when you die, hey, we'll bury you. Guess what? You just think of yourself like a golden goose, and they're squeezing every golden egg out of you once they're gone. And chances are, if they could, they'd blend you up and they'd feed you back to us. So we didn't have to spend money on feeding us. Soylent Green. Looking at Soylent Green, going, that's a good business model. It's This is where we're at. And people can't face it because who do they turn to? And the trick is you turn to each other. The only defense we have against what's coming, because they're not going to stop. They've found out now. They don't care. They're not arresting anyone. They're basically going, oh, well, you caught us, but yeah, so what? We're killing you. What are you going to do about it? We got all the guns, huh? What are you going to do? So they're just doing it. And so you have to ask yourself, and this is the really important thing. Sorry to rant on. You are the last generation that is voluntarily heading into slavery. You're doing it voluntarily. You know it's corrupt. You know how they're treating you. You see all the surveillance things going up the data centers. You know they're building you, they're really reinforcing the prison walls and the prison guards, making it cheaper that they can completely control you. Coles is going, oh yeah, we monitor you every move and everything because we want to see what you like and we can make it an easier, pleasant experience for you. No, they're getting rid of human beings working and they're making you all feel like you're thieves and you need to be monitored. Bunnings is doing it. The corporations are just shaming you until you get to a point where you can't fight. You're breaking you down. But you are voluntarily doing this. And because you're voluntarily doing it and you won't stand up, your children and your children's children will not voluntarily do it. They will be born into a slavery, the likes of which we have never seen, ever. And you are the only human that can stop it. And you have to meet up with other humans. You go, what do? We don't have the guns. We don't have this. You go back to uni. You go to this little course. We're setting up Cafe Lockdown course to learn to say no. Do you want a vaccine? You learn. Come on, you can get it out. Smack him a bit. Ow! No. Liberated. Fucking humanity. Suddenly, hey. I'm a splinter of the divine. I'm not this worthless human being, this useless eater. I'm not a chicken. I'm not a sheep. I'm a fucking human being, made in the representation of God. And fuck you. Fuck you. You want my digital ID? It's on the end of my finger. Have a look. See? I especially got it there. That's the only way out. Not compliance. Nothing else. Nothing else is going to work. You just don't fucking comply. Otherwise, if you comply, then you are voluntarily enslaving the next generation, and that's the legacy you'll leave. Not your bricked up air, not your fucking all your little collection of fucking trolls or fucking gnomes. You'll be leaving slavery to the next generation that they will struggle to escape from. You're doing that. Not Fauci, not anyone else. They're just doing it because compliance, tyranny, cannot survive without compliance. And that was what COVID was about, the lockdowns about. It was like, let's see how compliant Australians could be. And oh my God, they must be sitting there going, can you fucking believe it? I thought these people were crocodile and big people. But fucking hell, they bent over like pretzels. They told us where Anne Frank was before we even asked. This is just like, this is it. And now they're going, oh, let's forget it. Let's move on. Let's move on. Move on into what? Forget that you became Nazis overnight? I mean, this is it. You really are the most important humans that have ever lived because the liberty of the next generations depends on the actions you do now. Here endeth the rant.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I've been today. It was a gorgeous day in Sydney. I went for a walk and
same here, man. Gorgeous day
on the beach, but I did see a few disabled people with their carers. I got those messages today, like I say, of people who had tumors who had died or were dying, and I'm thinking, man, this is fucked up because I can see, it's not an abstract thing anymore. The population is being made stupid, sick, and dead. So
yeah. This is it. The evidence is all pointing to it. This is
I'll tell you something that I've realized, and I knew this, but it's come back into the fore. John Ruddock, he's going to the New South Wales Parliament. He's trying to end the no jab, no play, no jab, no pay. They're giving they're giving Hep C, which I've got a clip here. I can't find it at the moment. Of Paul Thomas saying it was the third most toxic vaccine after COVID is number one, and Gardasil number two. The Hep B was and that's the one we give. That's the one we give to babies on their first day. Welcome to the world.
Isn't that Hep B?
Hep B, yeah.
Yeah.
Hep B. So you get that through IV drugs and sex. And he made the comment that the odds of a baby getting Hep B is like 1 in a million for a mother who's not Hep B positive, and yet, and if the child got Hep B, they're allowed to go to school because they're not sharing needles or having sex with the other preschoolers. But if you don't get vaccinated for it, you can't go to school. And so we're giving all these millions of jabs to prevent an infinitesimal amount of Hep B, but at the same time, because of all the aluminium and junk in the shots, we're creating a lot of damage to our population. And like I say, the evidence base was, was what, like 147 kids studied for 5 days, and then let's give it to billions of kids. It's just freaking nuts. But what these things reminded me of is that if you actually, the rationale for vaccines was that you give it to the population and then they get herd immunity.
Yeah.
So they don't get infected and they don't get sick. And the vaccines, the only vaccines that have a chance of doing that are the live attenuated virus vaccines. All the other ones, the DTaps and the Hep Bs, and you go on and on. A lot of the schedule doesn't even have a prayer of producing herd immunity. Now, like with the DTaP, you might have less symptoms. You might not get the symptoms of whooping cough. You could still carry it. You can still pass it on. But when it was studied in Africa, where they had 2 large cohorts, half the country vaccinated, half the kids not, the unvaccinated kids, they got a bit more pertussis, but the kids that got vaccinated got less pertussis, but they died at several times the rate. They had several times the all-cause mortality. They were dying of other things. They were dying of other things. That's why I've always focused on all-cause mortality.
Their mortality rate was through the roof. Yeah.
So to bring this home, what I'm saying is that these I think COVID vaccine is another example of a non-live attenuated vaccine. So these non-active live attenuated forms of vaccines.
That's funny, man.
These live, non-live attenuated vaccines still fill up our schedule, and they have no prospect of producing what people are saying, of actually protecting the population in the way they say.
Do you know another interesting thing about Hep B while we're on it? If you look deeper, like really deep, what it speaks to is a lack of belief in God and nature. Whether you're religious or whether you believe in evolution, you lack belief in that. Because we live in, basically, if you read the books, the reason a lot of these diseases have died out is we've got sanitation, access to clean drinking water, simple stuff like that, healthier food. But it's sold to us like this baby has come into this world. It's here for 20 minutes. But God or nature has not created a baby able to survive in our terrible world of dangerous things like Happy Meals and McDonald's Happy Meals and, you know, the IKEA maze where you get lost, you know which way you're fucking going. It's so dangerous that we have to put this pharmaceutical shit into their body so they can just survive here. It actually speaks to a lack of belief in your immune system, but deeper that, yeah, sorry, God is redundant now. This world is more dangerous, and our new God scientism, with their safe and effective vaccines, will keep my child safe. And because they believe it so much, when the child gets autism or sick or starts having fits or even effing dies, they can't bring themselves to go, could that be the vaccine? No. They take the young poor father who's come into the room, found his boy blue, picked him up and gone, what's wrong with you? And then used a fraudulent study, which is proven to be bullshit about shaking baby syndrome, and put that father or mother in jail to hide the fact, oh, the murderous bastard. So you're believing you've lost your thing, they throw you in jail, devastate your life, and they'll sacrifice you on the altar of vaccines. Because vaccines are miraculous. They're not. I'd even go so far as to say, well, actually, I won't say it here, but they're not miraculous. They're just products that they've convinced you have some religious significance. And because you truly don't believe in God, you're believing in them. It's fear that the baby will die. Fear. That's the real devil, I think, is fear. And you're kowtowing to it, you know? And then they make your life difficult if the baby's not vaccinated. But the thing is, what's more important to you? A bit of difficulty, a bit of social isolation, or the full-term health of your children? And if you want to know that you can trust God, talk to the Amish.
Yeah. Natural immunity was always the best. Live attenuated viruses are a form of, are the closest thing to natural immunity. That's why they have a chance of working. Everything else, if you're thinking the goal is to stop getting infected and stop transmitting it, let alone saving lives, definitely not saving lives. I think the evidence is it's the opposite direction. That's why we have to. That's why we have to stop the coercion, the mandates, the no jab, no plays, the no jab, no pays, because you're coercing people into something which actually doesn't make scientific sense. Wendy Daniels at the COVID, the vaccine conversation in Canberra last month, for Philip Altman, Judy Williman, and she made the exact same point as you, that and I've seen others, that all these infectious diseases had largely gone away. The mortality from measles and infectious diseases was gone before the vaccines were rolled out. So it was sanitation and nutrition that did the heavy lifting.
Wow, look at this by Martin Taylor. My mate's 16-year-old son is not allowed to attend year 10 exams until he has all his scheduled vaccines. I found out yesterday, because my children are unvaccinated, my son's friends were so worried about him, they thought we were so neglectful that they were going to arrange to get him all his vaccines on the one day so they could catch up with him, all of them, because they were so concerned in the belief that we were neglectful for not shoving all this shit in their veins. That's how indoctrinated the world is.
Well, they're putting themselves at significant risk.
You're seeing it now. You see, like, look at this. Okay, I just want to place it. This speaks the same to the indoctrination. Henry Nowak. The police couldn't see that this was a boy dying because they've been taught, no, he's white. The lovely Indian man there with the blood-stained knife, he said that he was racist and hid it off his turban. So yeah, drag this boy in, drag him. What's that red stuff? Nothing. He's just a racist. They can't see it. It's like that thing where we just showed the cops beating up the young girls. It's like they've lost. They can't see. They can't see it. It's the same with the guys that, do I still have that image there? Yeah, here. This is it. How do I get it on there? There. They can't see an old woman. They're told they're bad people. They're, dirty Jews, anti-vaxxers. That's all they see. They got no empathy for it. They're just doing their job. They believe they're doing the right thing, but they're injuring people. They can't see it. The same here. This is a list of us going, hey, we don't want to take this. We think we'll be all fine. And so here they are in all their armor, the first level, and behind them, all the police, everything there. This is at the shrine, everything there saying, if you don't take the vaccine for your safety, we're going to shoot you on the shrine of remembrance.
For your safety, we're going to shoot you.
Because we so care for you. We so care. Can't we just, that's the trouble we're in. And I hate to say it, but this was a picture taken literally moments, maybe a few minutes before the cops came in and beat us all up. And I'm still talking. They were there watching us. And this man next to me said to me, because he watched me doing speeches, he said, "Who are you?" And he said, "The light's on you, brother." And he made me this. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. He made me this, a little paper cross. And he gave it to me. He said, "This will protect you." This is what I was doing when the police came in and arrested us and started smashing the hell out of us. There it is. That's it. That the man closest to us, he's the one that made it. And when I met him on the tram and I was all beaten up and he was all beaten up, I said, "They beat me up, about the cross." And he said, "You're not dead." But this is it. This is the spiritual war. What do you believe? Do you believe that there is some great good behind you, that actually you are not? You might not be perfect. You have all these faults, but you are fully capable. Your child is fully capable of surviving and will grow naturally. Or do you believe that, nope, the only chance we have is if these scientists who are making copious amounts of money, who've been caught lying constantly, have the biggest fines for fraud in existence, unless these thoroughly corrupt human beings who just want to make copious amounts of money fill your veins full of their shit? What do you believe? I mean, it really gets to that. And values. What do you value? A healthy child or just not rocking the boat? It's staggering. And the more evidence we get out, like this evidence that we have now, it's not doing anything. The papers don't print it. This don't print it. Doesn't go anywhere. No one's talking about it. People are acting like serfs or slaves that, well, the master's allowed to do it to me. You know what I mean? That's how it works. The only freedom I have is to endure.
Once you say it, you can't unsay it. Back in 2021, 2022, when there were the big marches, it wasn't about as much anti-vax. So a lot of people back then who still perhaps felt that vaccines had a role. It was the mandates. It was the idea that you were being forced. It was the coercion. It was the, one of the good things. I made a list of just a few of the things that were discussed at the the vaccine conversation with Altman and Linneman. Lie one, because it's a quiz show. Lie one.
Yeah.
These are vaccines. Wrong. No.
Wrong.
They're gene-based products. They're synthetic gene injections.
Lie
two. They were properly tested before approval. Wrong.
Wow.
I mean, we now know also they tested a product that was different to what they gave. But the whole thing of running phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 trials all squished in together to get it done quickly. It was all dodgy as all. Life 3, the clinical trials proved safety and efficacy.
Wow.
And one of the things that was obvious to us watching, I was aghast when they they had the original trial, the 44,000, of which 170 people determined the fate of the whole study. Well, they unblinded it. They gave the shots to the control group. So it destroyed the ability to actually, that's not science. That's not what you do in a study. You don't turn around and then, you see a sugar pill or this pill. Does this? You don't cross them. So it destroyed it anyway. The TGA maintained rigorous standards.
Wow.
Not respected at all. But these products should have never been approved, and they weren't vaccines or medical products in the normal sense. They were medical countermeasures. They were called countermeasures. We should have called them countermeasures, and that was part of the reason why the TGA did such an absolutely useless job protecting the public.
Yeah,
they kept saying the safety signal was reassuring. It wasn't. It wasn't. There was plenty of data, and I was pointing to it already in 2021 when I was up in front of the Medical Council. Not that they cared about safety. The PCR test is a reliable diagnostic tool. Now, I've got a clip of Kerry Mullis giving Fauci a serve, describing what an idiot he is before he died, and clearly, that was one of the things I was asking my colleagues. What's the cycle threshold? Because if you they were using cycle thresholds of 45 in South Australia and up to 45 in New South Wales. The vaccine program has been proven safe and effective. No, the vaccinated kids, like I said, have significantly more illness than the unvaccinated kids. This enough should be to say we must end all the coercion, all the mandates.
Well, it's even more. Look further back. Sorry to interrupt. Look at pets. I saw a vet today in Congress somewhere saying that all the pets are dying because of all the vaccines we're giving them, and we have memories. Remember when you're young, you'd have a dog. The only time it died was when your family wanted to go on holiday and it went to the vet and never came back. Before then, it never got sick. The same with the cat. That's it. It went to live on a farm. There's a farm somewhere just full of thousands of cats. Oh, we need to go to the farm. We took the cats off the farm. Oh, really? There's and now they get vaccines. And we used to have, you'd get the dog for free, or you get the kitten for free. Someone at work, you go, anyone want a kitten? And they'd live forever. Now they pay these, I've got this pedigree dog, it's, I saw one the other day. It's a Great Dane and a poodle. So it's called a Great Doodle. And then they've got another one. There's a black one, Great Black Doodle, but you need a lot of space to accommodate that guy. But basically, here it is, just, the vaccine, they're spending thousands on these animals, $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 on these pedigree animals, vaccinating them like hell, and they're dead in 6 years. And they're sick all the time. Kelly's dog was sick for ages. She spent thousands on it trying to get it better. There's your business model. Get the animal sick with all the vaccines, keep taking it back to the vet, and you get pet insurance. I had a mate who was paying pet insurance, was like $50, $60 a month. And every time they took the dog back, they go, oh, no, that's not covered. Oh, no, that's not covered. It's just money. So you guys got to make, I don't mind being a schmuck. Well, do you or do you not want to? And now that's the same here with humans. And here it's so obvious. The thing is, it's incredible. It's incredible.
They're even giving them the replicon vaccines, which are really dangerous, and
what are those?
They're the ones that actually give the actual copy, if you like. So it gives it the machinery that allows it to make more of itself. So they say, "Oh, isn't this great? You don't need as much mRNA because it will make more of itself." But so you figure you didn't know what the dose you were getting was before. This is even worse because you're actually making you're turning your body not just into an mRNA factory. You're making your body into a vaccine factory. It's a disaster.
Yeah, that's right. It's and what I also think with COVID, like before COVID, everyone sort of suspected, but they were still making money, but they wanted to make more money, and they've crossed the line, and that's why people are waking up now. They couldn't contain their greed, and they went further, and now they're trying to go further. But the people are, the people taking the vaccines, it's really down, and that's because, well, the people are realizing that their very survival instinct is kicking in, going, I want to trust them, but literally half of my street has cancer, and that's what's happening. There's Fauci, my lovely friend Fauci, does gardening for someone. He has cancer, and it's a tiny little street, and the guy said there's like 5 or 6 people with cancer, all dying in the street.
It's just it's like the birds on the tree and the guy shooting from a distance.
Yeah, that's right.
The birds, about 10 birds can drop before the rest go. I don't know what's going on here, but it's time to get the flock out.
Yeah, that was a profound comment early on with Damien and I. That's exactly what it was. This hunter said he could shoot 10, and then as long as they couldn't hear the bullets, it'd take 10 of them to die before the others would look around and going, why is everyone's head blowing off? And then they'd fly off. And that's what we're seeing. And it took 6 years, millions of deaths, tens of millions of injuries, lots of people going, the trolls still believe, like Rosemary Marshall's troll, Snarky Gherkin, still believes that we sit here because we have all this time and fortunately make up these Forest of the Fallen A4 pieces of paper with people that don't exist, like the trolls are cloning us, and then we go out there and we stick it up like a sea of lies. And they
the Gherkin did a Substack recently where he was having a bit of a dig, as usual, at the forest. And he picked on Caitlin Gotcha. And when Annie McCabe was there taking the picture and queuing it up for him, I said to her, I've seen her file. I've seen a medical file. She was misdiagnosed at Toowoomba, but they didn't even think of doing a cardiograph or cardiac enzymes or any test for her heart. They were so convinced it was asthma. And when she died, the autopsy showed that she had an enlarged heart. And her mum begged them to do the appropriate histology, like what Arnie Burkhardt had shown, that you have to put it under a microscope, you have to stain it, you have to see, you'll see spike protein, you'll see the immune infiltrates. If you stain it appropriately, you can see the fingerprints of vaccine-related myocarditis. They didn't do it. They every time after time it was a story of let's cremate this body quick. But no Australian pathologist is doing these tests. They're all complicit in my book. They're all complicit in this cover-up. Yeah. And of course, his article didn't mention that. He tried to fob it all off on asthma, and he ignored the enlarged heart and the lack of testing, and uses that as a way of dismissing dismissing. But a 23-year-old doesn't develop an enlarged heart and drop dead in normal times, and all these sports people.
Yeah, what was worse, her best friends were attacking her mother, who, because she was going public, saying, "How dare you make Caitlin an anti-vaxxer poster girl? She would have been happy to die from a vaccine injury for the sake of the community." That's what they said to her. to the mother. So they actually admitted that it could be a vaccine injury, and they didn't care. You know, she's just one of the unlucky ones. She'd be happy to die. Really? Did you ask her? Did you get the chance? Because she was dying from an enlarged heart in a car outside of work, died alone, killed by Big Pharma.
To me, it's like with the Fauci story. It's not merely that they did this, but the cover up, the way that not a single Australian pathologist is able to do these tests and say one way or another. I mean, because honestly, if you follow the appropriate staining, like you will see a characteristic infiltrate. That was why when I saw that Nakahara paper with the PET scans and the hearts vaccinated lit up because of all the glucose it was using, and I was going, not the unvaccinated, the vaccinated, and it was nearly all of it. And to me, that's what Arnie was seeing. Arnie Burko was seeing. He was seeing these infiltrates going into the heart, and they were destroying heart muscle. That's the myocarditis. It wasn't enough, I think, like Dr. Shoemaker was saying, to cause the heart to measurably look different, perhaps on normal testing, on the cardiograph or on the ultrasound. But that Nakahara study was a telltale sign that there was a lot of subclinical myocarditis. And I think Caitlin was one of them.
Yeah, the fact that they don't do autopsies, if a pathologist are watching, how can you live with yourselves? I mean, surely your whole reason to be alive is to find out why these people are dying. And you don't look. I mean, is your job worth it? If you're not actually doing what you're meant to be doing, is it really the wage packet is worth it? I mean, we got that Heather, I think, the mother. Remember the mother who died? I did that interview with her, where the mother died in the toilet, you know, from a vaccine injury. But was it Heather? Terry was the daughter. Terry pushed and pushed. She just wanted this test done. No one couldn't get anyone in Australia to do it. They wouldn't do it because it'll expose the crime.
Yeah, and because you can say it's safe and effective until the cows come home.
Yeah,
unless you bother to do the tests that say
look. Yeah, staggering. And this is where we are now. Like, yeah, the seed comes out. Doctors baffled by the rise of turbo cancers. You know, are they really baffled, or do they just? Yeah.
So I think it was an extraordinary week from my point of view. Tulsi throwing Fauci under the bus, showing that they've been lying through our teeth and giving us the receipts. You know, this OG sin of calling the vaccinated unvaccinated for 14 days or longer after each shot to hide and artificially juice the effectiveness and safety figures, because all the harms were hidden, you know, by this misclassification, and it had the kicker of, for particularly short term, giving a boost in the apparent effectiveness, and none of the vaccinophile scientists have engaged in that. There are so many fundamental flaws in the framing of so many things that are starting to come out now. And honestly, I think the fight is still mandates. That's where we saw the hundreds of thousands in Canberra. Two things: protect the children, and mandates. And we still live in a world where they're coercing and mandating, and they don't have the evidence of safety.
Yeah.
Regardless of what the evidence is.
It really is. It really. I want to put this up. There's just from Sharon Abbott. I'm just putting up some of these things. Hey Sharon, I have Hep B and C gave birth to 2 children who never got hepatitis from me. You know, if you wanted to come on and talk about that, Sharon, feel free to come on. Michael at cafelockedout.com or cafelockedout@gmail.com. That would be a profound interview, Sharon. You would shock the hell out of people. And it's amazing. I'm so glad your children don't have it. Now, bet the trolls are losing their mind finding the quiz show. This is my favorite troll thing.
His fucking song out of my... I can't get his fucking song out of my head. It's the quiz show on the...
So that'll be back next week. Because I need to put time into it. Here we go. I have an unvaccinated 30-year-old daughter. I have an unvaccinated 30-year-old daughter who's earned 3 university degrees, an honors degree in engineering, a bachelor's degree in science, a master's degree in teaching. She also achieved band 6 in music and is a singer, pianist, and guitarist. I believe her achievements because she was not vaccinated. Yeah, my son is kicking goals now. He's found his stride. He's going for it. He's astounding where he's working, just going up and up and up. He's full of energy and he's looking at life. I think it's really a time to question. People have to question their values. What's more important to them? You know, this is where we're at. There was something else. I just want to play this too. Now, I reached out to a girl last week and said, do you want to come in for your interview? And she said yes. But today she went uber viral around the world thanks to Elon. So on Friday, unless she gets, of course, if Joe Rogan wants to interview her, she'll probably won't go with us. But if she does, and this is her, listen to this story. So it's connected because it shows how we are being devalued now. Listen to this.
American friends, listen to this latest absurdity. Last November, Jean Udgana, who is a father, an identity activist, and a local councilman, filmed a video in front of the supermarket in his small town. Let's watch it together and I'll comment next.
Salut à tous, vous voyez là je suis dans la ville dans laquelle j'ai grandi, 10 000 habitants je crois, et depuis quelques années maintenant tous les soirs on est comme ça, voilà, à la sortie, on se demande un peu ce qui se passe, mais en gros t'as des réfugiés afghans qui traînent, voilà, toujours au Leclerc en train de t'acheter de la bouffe, à rien branler, bienvenue dans la campagne française.
Okay, he posted this in the evening, and the next day at noon, the cops called him to summon him, warning him that it might take a while. He was held in police custody for 48 hours and subjected to completely crazy interrogations, where they asked him where his children went to school, what his relationship with them was like, how he raised them, Stasi style basically. In the end, he was recently prosecuted and sentenced to a 3-month suspended sentence prison and a fine of 4,650 euros, including 600 euros in compensation for each Afghan migrant he filmed. Native French people who speak out against non-European immigration and its damages are subjected to a veritable ritual of humiliation. They are forced to submit and to love their invaders and their tormentors against their will. We identitarian activists are hunted down like criminals because we love our country. My friends, keep fighting and defend your freedom of speech tooth and nail, because if you lose it, you lose everything else. Your sovereignty, your identity. So please share this video because there are still brave French people who are still fighting and deserve your support. Thank you.
Now, she's coming on because there was an attempted rape on her that she managed to evade, but her friend was gang raped by migrants, and she made a comment that the greatest threat French women face is being raped by African and Middle East migrants, and they arrested her and were going to throw her in jail. She's got a suspended sentence, and she's correct. This is where we're at. This is where we are at. This is coming down to realize the days of wine and roses are over. The enslavers are coming in. Every time now you go in, you know, when you go to Coles and they've got the people, and you got this plastic door that like lets you out when it's ready, you just feel like smashing it. Get the fuck out of me. I'm coming in here and spending my money and your stuff. And I wait. And you actually call out on every shop I go to now. If there's a line of 3, I go, can we get some human to serve the humans who don't want to, you know, use AI? Can we do that? And they go, oh. My dad does it too. He's 88 years old, and he's
Chuck
placed
up
all
the
his
old.
life, but he does it. Yeah, he says, chuck up a fuss, and they all come running and do it. You know, this is it. This is it. You don't have to voluntarily become extinct. You know,
Yeah.
you can be.
I found that clip.
Yeah, go.
That I was.
Also, no, one more thing. We are being. This is to everyone here. We are being monitored. So Christian Andrew, Chris Badham. I don't know what it makes sense. Thank you for this. He's been doing my head in for days. I fixed. Then something else happens. Might have to create a new email account, as I think they got in there with a few fake accounts with no profile pic when I searched my name. That he's been totally hacked. Ben, who's Ben Clifton. When the emails we captured, there was about 10 Ben Cliftons that they've got ready all cloned. They're just cloning people in here. So obviously they see you guys as a threat, not just us. They see you guys watching as a threat because you're spreading hope, you're spreading courage. But we're at the front line. This is it. That's why Troy's song at the start, Propaganda Man, is such a great song. We are under attack now. They want us silent. That's why they go after the the quiz show, because instead of just speaking to you, we ask you for your thoughts and your ideas, and this empowers you. And they don't want empowered human beings anymore. They want slaves, and that's why they attack it. That's what I believe.
Absolutely. Just a couple of clips that I mentioned.
Yeah, sure.
This is.
What is it about humanity that it wants to go to all the details and stuff and listen? You know, these guys like Fauci get up there and start talking. You know, he doesn't know anything really about anything, and I'd say that to his face. Nothing. The man thinks you can take a blood sample and stick it in an electron microscope, and if it's got a virus in there, you'll know it. He doesn't understand electron microscopy, and he doesn't understand medicine. He should not be in a position like he's in. Most of those guys up there on the top are just total administrative people, and they don't know anything about what's going on the bottom. You know, those guys have got an agenda, which is not what we would like them to have, being that we pay for them to take care of our health in some way. They've got a personal kind of agenda. They make up their own rules as they go. They change them when they want to, and they smugly, like Tony Fauci, does not mind going on television in front of the people that pay his salary and lie directly into the camera. What is it about humanity?
He was spot on.
When they killed him, and let's be honest, they did kill him. Imagine when he was saying there to them, what he spoke to whoever did it, like, you know, and they did. They killed him. They obviously said, "You're too powerful. You got to die." And that's what that French guy is saying now. You got to fight. You got to go to jail. You got to do this. This is it. You know, it's
he nailed it. He nailed Fauci.
Yeah.
You know, long before we got. It took us 6 years to get to the same place, but then he is a Nobel laureate, or was.
First of all, the hepatitis B vaccine is one of the worst. Until they came out with the HPV and then the COVID, the Hep B vaccine, especially given to young children and infants, has been the worst vaccine on the market. There's a number of reasons for that. The aluminum in that vaccine is proprietary Merck aluminum. There's something about it because it's the same one in the Hep A and it's the same one in the HPV vaccine. But that is a very dangerous vaccine, first and foremost. But more important than that, there hasn't been a single proven case of a child getting hepatitis B from a needle stick in a park or running on the beach. Not one. I know there was a FOIA request done to the CDC. I think it might have been Aaron Siri who did it, or maybe it was your team, Polly, at CHD TV. But the CDC can't come up with a single case. So just remember, you catch hepatitis B from sex and IV drug use. That's pretty much it, unless you happen to get a tainted blood transfusion, but that's a thing of the past. You are allowed, listen to this. This is the insanity of the push for hepatitis B vaccine. A child can have active hepatitis B, and they're allowed to go to school in all 50 states. But if you aren't vaccinated, in many states, you are excluded from school. So a healthy, unvaccinated for Hep B child is excluded but a child who's infectious can go. That's because it is so unlikely, unheard of, basically, for children to catch hepatitis B from children if they're prior to the activity, sexual activity age. So I wouldn't fear it at all. Move to California, walk barefoot, don't worry about it.
Yeah, so that was the clip that was the clip I mentioned before. I was referring to. That's Dr. Paul Thomas, and the man before, if you don't know, that was the Nobel laureate Kerry Mullis, who invented PCR. So
I know.
He
and
knew
said it didn't work.
Sorry?
The inventor said it doesn't work, can't do the job.
Well, yeah, it doesn't tell tell you what, and I've written about this on my Substack. I've gone into the weeds, but years ago now. Did you notice this, Michael? That after the millions they've spent on surveilling wild birds, they finally found an avian fleet bird. They must be rejoicing. I mean, that was only $100 million worth of surveillance. That's money.
Find it?
That's money well spent, isn't it? Maybe if they'd spent $200 million, we might have found 2 birds.
And what's the test to know it's got bird flu? Is it a PCR?
I would say it is, and my research suggests that about 5 million went into vaccinating poultry, but it could be more than that. That seems a bit light. But a lot of that 100 million went into something called biosecurity. So, there's this great big industry of biosecurity of us, biosecurity of all the livestock. It's the new form of control, and maybe I'll give Sherry Tenpenny the last word.
All right, then we'll go out with Troy's True Blue.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, and I want to do a quick update about a document that got passed by the United Nations this weekend called the Pact of the Future document. It's 2 parts, one on science and technology and one about the youth and future generations. It is quite egregious, and it was done by a procedure called the silence procedure, which makes it a pact. And if no one objected, it is automatically adopted and put into the record as being completely adopted. This is the World Health Organization's runaround or end around. Since they were not able to get the World Health Organization treaty passed, they decided to take it to the General Assembly. And it is even more egregious than what the World Health Organization was wanting to get passed. Let me just read you something really quickly about what is inside of this pact that is now being accepted by 193 nations around the world and equally open-armed accepted by our current administration. Everyone, it says that this is the power structure, fully digital and maximized for the control of the masses. Everyone will be expected to have a biometric digital ID that marks them not just as citizens of an individual country, but as a global citizen. So anytime you hear global citizen or anytime you hear sustainability, think that this is an egregious thing that's happening at the level of the World Health Organization and the United Nations. Anyone that has a dissonant opinion will be labeled as misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation and memory hold. Perpetrators for unapproved information will be fact-checked and punished by the system, which will be operated and enforced by artificial intelligence. Punishments will include being locked out of one's bank account, being unable to make certain purchases, unable to get on an airplane, on a subway, drive on public roads. This is the future, according to the world's self-appointed overlords at the United Nations. These are unelected bureaucrats that are making decisions about our country, our sovereignty around the world. Nothing could be more important at this point in time than to get prepared, have water, food, digital access, flashlights, a way to communicate with family and friends. Now is really the time to get involved and get prepared because this is what's coming.
I'm not sure about the flashlights, but I do have flashlights. So.
Yeah, it's an extraordinary time. It really is. And at the same time, everything looks normal, but this is underneath. They're changing the foundation underneath and laminating us with a bullshit reality on top. And that's fading now because people are just sick of the woke. I saw this woman the other day put up something. She's sick of it. She wants to be herself. She wants to call it out what she sees. She's sick of trying to appease the woke. It was a profound statement. I thought, this is what I'm seeing everywhere. These young boys we had on, they're over it. You know what I mean? And so I think the fight's on, and I think there's a good chance we can win because people everywhere are waking up. And once you're waking up, even though just a little bit, you don't go back to sleep. You can't. So I don't think they're going to have everything their way, and it's going to be a very interesting couple of years, including we've got financial collapse, which never seems to turn up, but it's always there. So it's just like, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a whole other show.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's it. Anyway, this is our Monday show. We used to do Mondays actually, but we moved to Sundays. And
we used to do Mondays. Mondays used to be these days.
Yeah, it used to be. But I like Sundays. But there's what else? Okay, the What the Fuck Boys can't do tomorrow night. So they'll be playing a rerun. Kay Reid is doing a show tomorrow. The Cardi Girls have just been all over the news everywhere. So this, I remember reaching out to Kay and Susanna saying, look, there's so many mature women in the movement. Why don't we have a podcast for them? And that's how we created the Cardi Girls. And now they're more popular than any of us. These older, feisty older women. So that's fantastic. And we've got some interviews coming up. We're back in Perth. We'll be letting people know what we're doing soon. And we're going from there. So it's you need to get me on, Michael, says Donnelly. Well, reach out to us, Donnelly. The cafedoctor@gmail.com. Just reach out to us. Happy to have you on. Anyway, I also want to reach out to Michael, who's and all the people fighting the Brumbies. We're trying to get some Brumby people on because that's a fight there between humanity and empathy and the system. You know what I mean? If you've had it been on everyone's show, you don't have to be on ours. Reach out. There's here's where it is. Anything else, big fella?
No, they were the main things that dropped this week that I wanted to share.
The No Go show won't ever happen again, Dean. I don't think David and Damien are up for it anymore. So it's just me and Richard. So you have to let certain things go and go back to your tree minging. But we do have some other shows coming, which might be interesting as we move ahead. And the two boys are seriously considering coming on doing their own show called The Divine Men Shed. So they have young people. I think that would be fantastic.
That would be really good.
Yeah. So we'll talk to them tomorrow, see what they want to come on, and going from there. We also might have a survivor of the Pakistani rape gangs. Karina has agreed to come on too. It's not just the French girl, but a survivor of it, and that also speaks to the states simply not caring for its own people anymore, because everyone knows it's happening and they've been hiding it for years. And they actually, the police have been saying they're calling our daughters white trash and offering them up, putting them in the cars and taking them to these Pakistani rape gangs. Yeah, it's on, man. It's happening here too, So these are things we have to talk about. This is it. Silence will fix nothing. Yeah, and Brumbies too. All right, I'm going to go out with this. Troy's written another song, but this is True Blue. This is a good dancing song. Paul, thanks for a great show, man. This is really, really good. We'll get some shorts up. Yeah, that was great. This is it. Basically, to Dr. Dan, I think the most appropriate thing would be, now the Fauci file's out, is na 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 na. Good night.
the dirt by the fence line, I seen it turn mean. Boots in the dust, and it looked like a machine. With the political enforcement officers, listen to me and you. When we are in a fight, when the grass gets chewed, I don't need a medal, I don't need a light. Someone on my side when the hard times fly. We all bleed red, but the nickname is True Blue. We all bleed red, and I'm standing by you. True Blue, True Blue, that's what mates do. We all bleed red, but the nickname is True Blue. Woo! Have you been stabbed? I don't think so, mate, but I saw your jaw go tight at the busted gate, standing by your mate. When they're in a fight means staying in the ring and keeping it right. If the storm rolls over and the trouble comes through, I'll plant my boots there and I'll stand with you. We all bleed red, but the nickname is True Blue. We all bleed red, and I'm standing by you. True Blue, True Blue, that's what mates do. We all bleed red, but the nickname is True Blue. Down by the war shrine, firing bullets at peacetime. When will they realize we're their own kind? Mates through and through, red dusted the good book and Versailles. Remember what our diggers did for me and you. Blue bees among the yellow, some say 832, but no matter who, I'll plant my boots there and I'll stand with you. We all bleed red, but the nickname is True Blue. We all bleed red, and I'm standing by you. True Blue, True Blue, that's what mates do. We all bleed red, but the nickname is True Blue. Now past the paddock, past the wire and dust, a good mate's shoulder is the one thing you trust. No fancy words, just a hand held firm when the road turns rough. That's where hearts learn. We all bleed red, but the nickname is True Blue. We all bleed red, and I'm standing by you. True Blue, True Blue, that's what mates do.
That's right, Troy. People should be dancing. Wow, this song.
Yes, True Blue. Woo! Hey! Woo! Hey!
I'm just saying, Troy made that with AI. I know people are questioning AI, it's a thing, but he's done 3 or 4, and sent them to us. If you're doing it, use Suno. I know, Katie, you've done some. Get Suno. It's really cheap. Create some songs. We need them now. I know there's not real musicians doing it, but that song would cost $10,000-$20,000 to produce. We don't have that money, so this helps us. We're going to cut that up and use it for marketing and stuff. That song's brilliant. So it's how we fight. It's how we fight. It's inspire people. Yeah, it's great, Troy. Fantastic. Okay, and he's got a new one out about me, Old Man in a Bus. Thank you very much, Troy. It's a great song. Hey, Troy, you should try rhyme something with Oosterhuis. I dare you. Okay, good night, everybody.